is our brother. At this time, I would like to introduce State Senator Roger Rawl.
Mike, you have a very good memory. You hit that perfectly. I appreciate the introduction, appreciate the honor of being able to address all of you today. Larry, you've got a great community here. Thank you for opening up your community center to us, and Deacon Steve for your invitation. I want to give a thanks to the commanders of both the VFW and the American Legion for the thoughts that they had to share with us here. And I want to give a special thank to the young men and women who I have off to my left here. And I'm not just saying this because when I was in high school, I was in the band. Middle school, high school, I was in the band and choir. So I'm not saying it because of that.
Right.
But the truth is, when you sit here and you listen on a day like today, when you listen to the voices of the younger generation, and you listen to the music and melody that comes from their instruments, to me, it just adds hope and optimism for what our future is going to be, having great folks like this. So can we give these young men and women here So as a veteran, Veterans Day is a special day for me and my family. And I can tell you that my wife and kids, they can attest to the sacrifices that veterans and their families make. And I know you here today, many of you, are so well aware of the support that it takes to keep our service members going. I and we are so grateful for the many sacrifices our veterans have made for us to be here today. As a history major, I also want to share, if you'll indulge with me, just a brief history of this day and what makes it so special. It was the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in June of 1919 that officially ended the First World War. But to Great War veterans, the end of the war came in November of 1918, on the 11th hour of that 11th day of the 11th month, when the guns across Europe fell silent. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't heard of this or done this yet, go to YouTube when you get home today. I want you to Google November Veterans Day when the guns fell silent. There is actually, you can listen. They were able to do an acoustical restoration. You can listen to all of the artillery shells going off, and in that moment when peace came across Europe. It was then President Woodrow Wilson, he proclaimed on November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day to remember the end of that war, which was supposed to end all wars. He reflected on that occasion saying, "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service, and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing which it has freed us, and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations." The initial idea was to observe the day just as we are doing here today, on that 11th hour, with public ceremonies and parades across our land. It wasn't, however, until 1938 that Congress actually made November 11th an official holiday. Then in 1954, President Eisenhower signed legislation to change the name from Armistice Day to Veterans Day to honor all veterans who served in all of America's wars. President Eisenhower knew firsthand the importance of honoring our veterans, as he noted in his proclamation saying, "In order to ensure proper and widespread observance of this anniversary, all veteran organizations, and the entire citizenry will wish to join hands in the common purpose." And that is exactly what we are doing here today. We are joining together in that common purpose with veterans organizations and our citizenry to say thank you to these patriotic who are gathered with us today. These and all veterans showed their love of our country and their willingness to go wherever they were called, whenever they were called upon, And for that, we cannot thank you enough. We build monuments to our veterans to honor their sacrifices. Were it not for the weather, as was mentioned, we would be standing by one today. Kaukauna's Veterans Memorial Park and Ring of Honor is a great example of our younger generation's recognition to know that we need to honor our veterans. It was 20 years ago that a group of students in a civics class at Kaukauna High School first began the idea for that very monument. The students helped in researching the design, assisted in fundraising, and along the way, they built a coalition of community members to support that project, along with the city, veterans groups, and service organizations. That park in Ring of Honor, those bricks and flags and benches, they pay tribute to the veterans who have paved the way for the society that we have here today. Sadly, around our country, we're seeing some of that history being erased. As someone who studied history and appreciates history, even the history that we're not proud of, we need to respect it, learn the lessons from it, if only to ensure we don't repeat it. That's why I'm grateful for those of you who are gathered here today. You know and you respect these veterans seated among us. You understand the call to service that they answered, and you supported them in a number of different ways. You supported them during their service in deployment, whether it was care packages full of thoughtful items, small reminders of home, phone calls, or those heartfelt letters that and I know my fellow veterans here can attest, meant so much. You welcomed them home after their service, whether it was at their base with a ceremony, smiles and hugs, or in some cases the surprises was on you when they showed up at your door, or at your office, or at your children's school. And I know many of you have also participated with Veteran Honor Flights. Those events are a touching tribute to our veterans to see their monuments and memorials that were built in their honor and for their fallen brothers and sisters. I've attended many of them to welcome veterans home at the end of those special days. Seeing the pride and sense of closure on their faces and the thanks that so many of their family and friends share when they come home truly shows how much this community cares about its veterans. You've also helped them reintegrate into everyday life. Some of our veterans come home physically injured. Others struggle with mental health issues related to their service. Others still need help figuring out just what comes next. Whatever the needs are, there is an important support network here that is ready to help. Businesses, too, around the Fox Valley are also recognizing the importance of employing veterans for their work values and work ethic that they bring to the companies. Just this week, Kimberly-Clark, a huge employer in our region, was given an award by the State Department of Workforce Development for building a support system within their workplace, hiring and retaining more veterans, and connecting veterans in the community and their families. And they aren't the only employer doing that. Veterans bring needed skills learned in their military service to public and private sector jobs. They also bring a level of respect, integrity, and work ethic that the military teaches and that our employers are now starting to recognize the value of. As often happens in our busy lives, we do things, and then we forget and we move on. But your presence here today ensures that we will not forget the veterans in our community and the things, the truly extraordinary things that they have done. May we forever be thankful and grateful to each and every one of them. I want to thank you. I want to thank all of our veterans, and may God bless us all. Thank you.